Due to the rules and procedure of our House, I was unable to take part in second reading. But having listened very carefully to the whole of the debate and reread some of the speeches, there are some points which were not made on Monday, which I think should be drawn to your Lordship's attention. My other colleagues will deal with the detail of the debate and the detail of this bill. My Lords, we are in familiar territory, because powerful campaigns have common characteristics and patterns. Classic campaign identifies a minority group, preferably one about which the majority population knows little, ascribes to them characteristics and motivations which make them a threat, repeat those assertions, preferably with the backing of a neutral body or experts, over and over until they become received wisdom. It's what happened to migrant communities in the UK in the 1970s, and in the 1980s it was lesbians and gay men. And today it's the turn of trans people. And I say what will be the continuing theme of my speech. There is no evidence, and no evidence has been offered yet, that trans people are a systemic and significant threat to women. We see a reliance on campaign techniques, which some of us are very familiar. When this House was debating changing the law to allow gay adoption or enable civil partnerships, Lord Hunt will remember it well, we were sent documents which purported to be research. In those days, they came from organisations such as the Christian Institute. These days, the alt-right have become a lot more savvy. They support campaign groups and individual academics to produce those documents which look like research. Noble Lords would have got one during the recess. When you're in closer inspection, they're just the same dodgy dossiers as in the past. The Noble Lord Hunt, in his speech, no doubt recorded at column 652 the other day, was full of passionate assertions based on that document and others. But if you closely examine his speech, there is no actual evidence of any threat by trans people to individual women or to women's rights. It's just an opinion, admittedly widely repeated. On Monday, I listened very carefully to the phrases, carefully crafted to make it appear that the people using them not transphobic, just protecting women. Done again today, Lord Lucas. My Lords, as a lesbian who lived through Section 28, I know what it's like to be portrayed as a member of a group that constitutes a threat to women and children and families. Unsafe to let us into changing rooms because we pose a threat, all without evidence. That was an experience of classic homophobia, often expressed in exactly the same arguments and phrases as we're hearing today. This time, no matter who the messenger, Baroness Noakes, Lord Hunt, regardless of their record on other equalities issues, the effect of what you're proposing is the same. It's to limit or deny a minority group, in this case all trans people, access to services and public places. Another trope that we saw was on show on Monday. People supporting amendments, like other people in this wider campaign, stated over and over again that they're being silenced. Week in, week out, that claim is repeated in national newspapers, the BBC and other broadcasters. They're not being silenced. It's just that some of us have the temerity to disagree with them and to call them out for what they're doing. They state that they're hounded on social media. They are. Anybody listening to the debate on Monday would have thought that that was all coming from one side of this debate. I invite Noble Lords to go and have a look at my Twitter timeline, and I assure you, you will be astonished at what people claiming to be feminists are capable of saying and doing, threatening to other women. I'm not surprised that these proposals have got, and these amendments have got some support in your Lordship's House. The Noble Baroness Nicholson of Winterbourne is on record as having opposing LGBT equality since 1994, consistently. Other Noble Lords read the Times, and in each of the last 2 years, they've had over 320 articles about trans issues, almost all of them full of gross misrepresentations. Other members of your Lordship's House will have been approached by women, female friends and colleagues, scared by the never-ending message that trans people are a threat to them. That's understandable given the deluge of this incessant campaign. But I stress again, the evidence behind it is not there. My Lords, as a member of your Lordship's House, I've worked very hard to improve the position of women in all their diversity. That includes lesbian mothers in the days when they were considered not fit to be mothers. I've worked very hard on women's reproductive rights so that women and girls here and abroad have access to safe, appropriate healthcare. My commitment to women's health and dignity is undiminished. And I ask noble lords, as they listen to the very strong allegations and assertions that were made on Monday, to note that lack of credible evidence of trans people being a threat. The wording of this bill is already inclusive. Amending it, to my mind, would be a deliberate decision to exclude trans men and others from services. I think that is the first dangerous end of a very dangerous wedge. When people like me were in the firing line, we depended on allies. Today, trans people are under a sustained, unwarranted attack. For those reasons, if I get the opportunity today, I will vote against these amendments. And I would strongly urge noble lords who may well have listened to the debate on Monday to go back and ask themselves the question, where is the real evidence of trans women in particular being a threat to other women?